Shalom Yasharala, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And citation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real fast, which is dealing with, the degradation or the downfall of the beast in the whore relationship. All right. It says Finland warns about imminent downturn in Europe. And this is all being, sparked up from the situation in Ukraine, the strain that the relationship is being put under from, following the beast, following after the whore's instructions. Like we've been saying for quite a while, when Babylon goes to war, the beast has to follow along with it. All right. But Babylon is the one that benefits from these things, whereas the whore or the beast, they don't get any benefits from these things. All right. And they're starting to realize these things. They're starting to wake up to these things. All right. Which is going to lead to what? The beast hating the whore. All right. And some time back, most people would never believe that, this relationship would ever break apart. But as you can see, it says Finland warns about imminent downturn in Europe. And it all comes down to what? Survivability, economics. All right. It says looming recession may compromise European unity, President Sauli Niinisto said. An economic downturn is looming over the European Union amid the Ukraine conflict. Finnish President Sauli Niinisto warned in an interview with local media released on Sunday. Even we in Finland are used to living with the idea that everything will get better next year. But now this is suddenly no longer the case. Finland leader said to the newspaper, adding that the trend may impact the concept of European unity. All right. And, hey, you have to think about this, the scenario that they're in. All right. The EU is pretty much like a conglomeration of these European nations, pretty much is operating as one whole nation, to put it, in layman's term. All right. So, they all pretty much in the same area and they all benefit from the trade and everything else like that. So like, for instance, to give you an example, so you can understand, it's like when China trades with America, they trade with the United States, as a whole. All right. They don't trade necessarily with, China's trading with Florida, China's trading with Georgia, individual states. They just trade with the U.S. as a whole, and they'll ship things into the ports. And then from there, they'll break it down to whatever state it's going to. All right. The same with the EU. Now, as you're reading over here, you would think about them so-called breaking up. Now, there are little fractures between some of them, but at the end of the day, they need one another to depend on each other. All right. What's more, how do I say, what's more or less on the chopping block is their relationship with America. They'll say NATO, but, again, you have the EU, that makes up a majority of NATO. All right. You got some other nations that aren't part of the EU that are NATO, i.e. like America. Right. But it says we're moving in a direction where self-sufficiency is a very broad sense becoming central. Niinisto reiterated. It means self-sufficiency in terms of security, despite that we have the NATO process in motion, and self-sufficiency so that there's enough food. So, self-sufficiency. All right. They want to be like, hey, we got to think about ourselves. We got to be able to take care of ourselves. We got to be able to make sure that we can feed our own people before we go over here. And, there's like a term, it's like, look, I got to make sure I can feed my household and my family before I start feeding your family. I'm not going to go over here and take my last little bit of dollars and then go and put food on your family plate when I don't have no food on my family's plate. So I got to make sure that we're fine before we can even offer it to help you out. All right. It says he also voiced concerns over the possible escalation of the Ukraine conflict. This risk is ever present and it must be taken into account, Niinisto said, without providing any details on what such escalation might look like. According to the Finnish president, it is impossible to imagine what form a possible reset in relations between the West and Russia could take after Moscow attacked Ukraine in late February. Niinisto also believed that Ukraine conflict will have far-reaching consequences. Finnish leader warning comes after inflation in the Eurozone hit the highest level on record in July, reaching 8.9%, according to the European Statistics Office. The soaring inflation has largely been attributed to skyrocketing energy prices, right? And again, you got to think about it. Like I said, what do these nations get in benefit from following after Babylon and this situation with back in Ukraine? They don't benefit anything. All right, but what do they stand to lose in following after Babylon in this? Well, they got to pay higher energy prices if they can even get the energy. And you have all these other how do I say these other drawbacks. All right, it says to mitigate the energy crisis, the European Council earlier this month approved a plan that would see EU countries reduce their gas consumption by 15% in light of possible disruptions of supplies from Russia. Poland and Hungary, however, reportedly refused to back this plan due to legal concerns. Earlier, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban commented on the initiative, saying that the energy ration suggests that Europe is moving towards a wartime economy and is telling unless peace is reached in Ukraine, we will not be able to solve any problems. There will be no energy, and the entire European Union will be pushed into an economic situation of war. So, hey, if they don't figure something out, they're going to be forced to go to war because it's going to just wind up bankrupting these people, man. All right, now I want to just grab a few precepts. Not going to make this too long, but hey, here's Daniel chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 41, just getting to the point. It says, and wherein thou sawest let's start up. Daniel 2 and 40, and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, and part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay. It says, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. All right, and so hey, you starting to see this going on right now. Some nations can hold out a lot longer than other nations, but hey, all these nations are pretty much feeling, the so-called rough end of the stick. But hey, some of these nations like, look, we can't afford to go this winter without energy or natural gas. We can't go year over year with these things. And one of the things that America has over these other nations is what? They have the petrodollar. All right. And that petrodollar is what's keeping them afloat, in a lot of these different times. Not just that, they sell military arms and everything else like that. So as all these weapons that's being sold over to Ukraine and everything else like that, America making money off of that. Whether or not it make it to Ukraine or not, they still get paid off of it. These other nations, when they wind up selling weapons to Ukraine, or giving weapons to Ukraine, they have to replace their own stockpile. And guess where they have to get those weapons back from America. So these nations are starting to wake up. All right. Like the scriptures say that the nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. All right. They starting to wake up from this drunken stupor and realize like this isn't a good relationship for us. It's not really benefiting us. All right. This is Revelation 17. In verse 16, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. All right, and this is going into what? The beast, or the how do I say? The visual is the whore that rideth upon the beast. All right, and the whore would be what? Babylon the Great, or America. All right, the leader, the U.S. led NATO bloc, as they would say. All right, and the beast would be more or less NATO and the EU, these supporting cast members in this whole big military bloc. All right, but hey, as you can see, with the beast that's being directed by the whore, all right, it's directing them into what? Bankruptcy. All right, it's directing them into strained trade relationships with nations that they need to get resources from. All right, now these nations are saying, hey, they're starting to sober up. What are we getting out of these things, man? Is this benefiting us or is it hurting us? We don't have no problem with Russia or nothing like that. In fact, they supply us with things. Y'all have a beef with Russia because y'all just want to take their land. And even if we did help you secure their land, what do we get out of it? All right. And so this is putting a strain on the relationships between, the whore and the beast, or, Babylon the Great, and then these, how do I say, these supporting nations. All right. This is Obadiah 1 and 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There's no understanding in him. All right. So, hey, eating that bread, the ones that's that you so-called support, you help prop up and everything else like that. You give them some of the, not to say all the resources, but certain perks from being your allies, man. All right, they the ones that's going to deceive you. Let me read this in the NLT. It says all of your allies will turn against you. All right, all your so-called well, they use the word allies there, but all your so-called friends and compadres and the military sense and things like that, man. All right, they about to turn on you, man. All right, and you're forcing their hand to do so, and it's becoming clear now more than ever. It says all your allies will turn against you. They will help chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive you and destroy you. All right, and that's exactly what they're doing right now, plotting on how to deceive you. Look, we're gonna do this for as long as we can, but best believe that they're thinking of a way out. Or it's like being in a bad relationship when things start going sour. Yeah, y'all might be having a little small petty talk here and there, but one is plotting on how can I get my shit together to move on up out of this relationship. It says they will promise you peace while plotting to deceive you and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. All right, and best believe that they making backdoor deals with you, right? Well, with the enemy right about now. All right, we're gonna close out with this and Habakkuk 2 and 3, it says, for the visions yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And you're seeing right now that this here vision of the whore starting to hate the beast is becoming more and more evident as the days go by. All right, so hey, now more than ever, we're getting closer and closer to the end. All right, so I just wanted to make a quick little video on that, as just reading in these articles this morning. But I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Till next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Quadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And citation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong, Shalom.